Okay, so there's this thing that happens around 35 where you look at your paycheck and you're like, wait, this is the same number it was 3 years ago. Maybe it went up like 2% for inflation or whatever, but it's not actually moving. And meanwhile, you're working harder than you ever have. You're training the new people, you're fixing everyone's mistakes, staying late, showing up early, doing the job of like 2.5 people because someone quit and they never backfilled the role. But your salary? Stuck. And you're watching dudes in your office who started after you get promoted, and you're sitting there like, wait, what the hell is happening here? I'm Sophia, and look, I'm just some chick who obsesses over this stuff way too much. Definitely not your financial advisor or anything, so obviously your situation is totally different. But I need to talk about this because it's real, and it's specific, and nobody explains it without sounding like a corporate HR training video. There's this invisible ceiling that hits a lot of women right around 35, and it's not just bad luck, it's a pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So here's what's actually going on. For most women, especially Latinas and women of color, your late 20s and early 30s are this grind period where you're building your resume, proving yourself, getting your foot in the door, maybe switching jobs a couple times to get better pay. And it works. You go from making $35,000 to $50,000 to maybe $65,000 if you're lucky. You feel like you're climbing. But then, somewhere around 35, that momentum just stops. And it's not because you stopped being good at your job. It's because the system has this built-in assumption that you're about to check out. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. A lot of companies look at women in their mid-30s and they start doing this mental math. They're thinking, is she going to have kids? Is she going to need maternity leave? Is she going to come back part-time? Is she going to be less committed? And even if you already have kids or you don't want kids or you're done having kids, they're still making decisions based on this imaginary version of you that they created in their heads. It's not fair. It's not legal to discriminate like that. But it happens in subtle ways. You get passed over for the big project. You don't get invited to the leadership meeting. Your raise is smaller than the guy who does half your work. And you're sitting there wondering if you're crazy or if this is real. It's real. Studies have literally shown that women's earnings peak earlier than men's, and for a lot of women, that peak hits in the mid-30s, and then it just flatlines. Meanwhile, men's earnings keep climbing into their 40s and 50s. It's wild. And if you're a woman of color, the gap is even worse, because you're dealing with the gender thing and the race thing at the same time, and it's like playing a rigged game where the house always wins. But here's the thing. You can break this. It's not easy, and it's not fair that you have to work twice as hard, but you can absolutely shatter that ceiling if you know what moves to make. And I'm not talking about manifesting your salary or whatever. I'm talking about actual strategy. First, you need to get comfortable asking for more money. I know, it feels awkward and gross, and you don't want to seem greedy or difficult. But here's what nobody says. If you don't ask, you don't get. Men ask for raises and promotions way more often than women do, and that's part of why their earnings keep going up. They're not better at their jobs, they're just louder about wanting more. So you need to start tracking your wins. Keep a list of every project you crushed, every problem you solved, every time you saved the company money or brought in revenue. And then, when it's review time, you walk in with receipts. Not like, oh, I work really hard and I'm a team player. No. You say, I increased our client retention by 15%. I trained 4 new hires who are all still here. I streamlined the process that was taking 3 days and now it takes 3 hours. Numbers, results, proof. And if they say no or they lowball you, you need to be ready to walk. I'm serious. The biggest salary jumps happen when you switch companies, not when you stay and hope for a promotion. I know it's scary, especially if you've been somewhere a long time and you're comfortable, but comfortable is expensive. Staying at the same place for 5 years because you're scared to interview somewhere else could literally cost you $50,000 or more over that time. That's real money. That's a down payment. That's your kid's college fund. That's your retirement. You can't afford to be loyal to a company that's not being loyal to your paycheck. Second, you gotta start thinking about income outside your job. Because here's the thing, your salary has a ceiling. Even if you break through the 35-year-old slump, there's only so high you can go as an employee. But side income? That has no ceiling. And I'm not talking about some work 80 hours a week and never sleep nonsense. I'm talking about strategic moves. Maybe it's freelancing in your field on the weekends. Maybe it's starting a small business that you can grow slowly. Maybe it's investing in dividend stocks or rental properties or index funds that pay you while you sleep. The goal is to build income streams that aren't tied to your 9 to 5, so that if your job stalls out, you're not stuck. And listen, I know this sounds like a lot. You're already tired. You're already doing everything. You've got people depending on you and bills that don't care about your feelings. But this is the part nobody tells you. The women who break through that ceiling are the ones who stop waiting for permission and start taking what's theirs. They stop being polite and start being strategic. They stop hoping their boss notices their hard work and start making it impossible to ignore. They stop putting all their financial eggs in one job basket and start diversifying. Third, and this is huge, you need to start talking about money with other women. I'm talking real numbers. Not like, oh, I do okay. I mean actual salary figures. Because when we don't talk about what we make, we have no idea if we're being underpaid. And companies love that. They love that we're all walking around in the dark guessing, hoping we're being treated fairly. But the second you find out that the girl who started 6 months after you is making $10,000 more, you have leverage. You have information. And information is power. So start those conversations with your friends, your coworkers, your girls in the group chat. Ask what people are making. Share what you're making. It feels uncomfortable at first, but it's how we all win. And finally, invest in yourself. I don't mean like buy a course that's going to sit in your downloads folder forever. I mean actually upgrade your skills in a way that makes you more valuable. Get a certification. Learn the software everyone's going to need in 2 years. Build your network. Go to the industry events. Connect with people on LinkedIn who are where you want to be. Because the ceiling isn't just about money. It's about visibility and opportunity. And if you're sitting at your desk waiting for opportunity to come find you, you're going to be waiting a long time. Look, the income ceiling at 35 is real, and it's designed to keep you stuck. It's designed to make you think you've peaked, that this is as good as it gets, that you should just be grateful for what you have. But that's a lie. You're not at your peak. You're just at the point where you have to fight a little harder and move a little smarter. And yeah, it's unfair. Yeah, it's exhausting. Yeah, you shouldn't have to do all this just to get what men get handed to them. But you're not doing this to play fair. You're doing this to win. So the next time you feel that ceiling pressing down, remember, it's not concrete. It's drywall. And drywall breaks. You just got to know where to hit it. Track your wins, ask for your money, build income outside your job, talk to other women, and invest in yourself. That's how you break through. That's how you make 35 the beginning, not the end. And that's how you become the woman who didn't just survive the ceiling, but shattered it and kept climbing.